Volume 1 What They Don't Save. Part 1 The Afterlife. Most nights, the afterlife feels like a gun held to the city's head. Low lights and loud mouths. Chrome catching neon in all the right places. Mercs waiting for gigs. Fixers looking to take an unfair cut of the pay. Same as always. Same old night city. Eddie's in, blood out. I pushed through the front doors. The music was thumping overhead somewhere. Classic rock from the mid-2020s. Cream. Glasses clinked. Somebody laughed way too loud, which usually meant somebody else was about to get punched. Normal. Comforting, in a way. I'm not here for biz. Not yet, anyways. I'm here because my reflex loop has been lagging half a beat too slow. Noticed it on my last two jobs, and half a beat in Night City was how you wound up as a flatline gonk in an alleyway. The Ripper Doc in the back had decent hands, didn't ask stupid questions, and only overcharged when he thought you could survive being angry about it. Good enough for me. I cut through the crowd, eyes moving without shape. An old habit. You don't stare in the afterlife. You clock, you read, you keep going. That was how I spotted Sin. He's leaning against one of the side tables, drink in hand, looking like he'd wrestled with sleep and lost the argument anyways. Syndicate never did much for style. That didn't stop him from looking the part of top-tier merc. Long black coat, glowing red nanite mask so he didn't fall to his own tech. His chrome honestly terrifies me. He has canisters that release a nanite swarm that disables comms, flags out your deck, makes your own chrome next to useless. I feel sorry for any gonk that picks a fight with him. He saw me about the same time I saw him, and gave me a little nod. Rook! Sin! I stepped over, offered my hand. He took it, quick and firm. How's it going? He huffed out something that might have been a laugh. Still breathing. Night City hates to see a man win. Yeah, tragic. I nodded towards his drink. You on the clock? Always. That tracked. My head tilts a little bit. How's your daughter doing? With a raspy sound, he exhaled through his mask, synth tobacco filling the gap between us. She's hanging in there. The psychosis attacks are lessening, but being dependent on chrome since infancy has not been easy for her. Glad to hear she's got some improvement. I said it, and I meant it. He gave a short nod. Yeah. Well, I said, thumbing toward the back, trying to keep my chrome from making me look slow. That got a real grin out of him. I couldn't see much behind the mask, but his eyes seemed to squint in genuine amusement. Thin, but real. Bit late for that, Chew. Gonk, I said, and he gave me a two-finger salute as I moved on. The Ripper Doc has a booth set up in the rear corner, past the bar's spillover glow, tucked into one of those half-private alcoves meant to make people feel like whatever body horror they were about to agree to was classy. He has a case open beside him, tools laid out, neat and clean, lenses clipped down over one eye, while he works on some nameless merc who looked like he'd taken some lead to the face. The merc slid off the chair looking pale and probably more symmetrical than when he'd sat down. He's gonna need a new faceplate. The Ripper glances up at me. Well, well, well. If it ain't Rook. If it ain't a licensed butcher. He snorted. You want jam? Go find a dog. Sit down. I drop into the chair and lean back while he peers at me like I'm a machine he regrets buying secondhand. What's wrong this time? My reflex loop's dragging. How bad? Bad enough I noticed. That bad, huh? He pulls a scanner over my temple, its light washing cool against my vision. Knew I should have bullied you into updating your firmware last time. Plug in your gonk. Alright, fine. Give me the latest version. He grunted, eyes on the readout. Got signal bleed here. Little latency in the response stat. Not catastrophic, but if some chrome epic gonk with more guts than brain cells decides to rush you, you might notice the problem real sudden like. Preem. This your idea of maintenance? Wait till something almost gets you killed, then come see me? That's everybody's idea of maintenance. Don't make it less stupid. He tapped the scanner against the side of my head, then frowned. You still running those old optics? They work. So do a screwdriver used as a chisel. Don't mean I recommend it. I opened my mouth to answer, and the room changed. That was the thing about places like the Afterlife. Noise was life. Noise meant nobody had decided to flatline yet. When the room went thin, when it pulled in on itself like everybody suddenly remembered they had a pulse, that meant something with teeth had just walked in. The Ripper froze before I did. Well, that's interesting. I turned slow enough not to look scared. She'd just come through the doors. Black suit, skin tight and seamless. Faint red tracery running through it like a live wire under smoked glass. Black netrunner's cloak, bright red optics. A half mask across the lower face, and a red lit blade at her hip, edge shimmering hot enough to bend the air around it. And the ears. At first glance, they looked like a style choice. Sleek little cat ear silhouettes rising from the headpiece. I've seen them on dolls working the streets, but she didn't look like a doll. She moved, like she'd already calculated the room and dismissed half of it. She crossed to the bar. The whole damn Afterlife opened a lane for her, without anybody being obvious about it. I kept watching. The bartender leaned in to hear. She said something short, calm. She pointed toward the back hall. I glanced at the Ripper. Yo, Doc. Who is that? He gave me a look halfway between pity and irritation. That's Lady Wasabi. Legendary merc from Red Veil. That supposed to explain the room? Should, if you got any sense in that ram-jam chrome dome of yours. Seen solos before. Not like that you haven't. She make even Smasher wet his metal pants in fear. No way the boogeyman of Night City is afraid of some solo merc. The Ripper nodded towards her head. Those ears ain't for cute, Joom. Yeah? Directional receivers. Probs more than that. Full spectrum if the rumors are true. Pick up things your chrome wouldn't even know to listen for. I squinted slightly. What optics is she running? He gave me a humorless laugh. Those ain't optics anymore, Joom. Not the way you mean it. That got my attention. What are they then? Custom. Beyond custom. Kiroshi can't make that kind of tech. Sure. All her chrome is custom, Joom. She... what's the word? Liberates the best engineers from the corpos. She got a whole team of bright ones cooking up chrome for her over in Red Veil. That made me look at him. You serious, Chum? Flatline serious. She don't see like we do. Word is, she run echolocation through that stack. Active pulse mapping, passive return, all routed straight through her neural processor. I frowned. You're telling me she sees with sound? Sound, likely infrared. She could hit an EMP dark enough to fry every Kuroshi set in this room. And while everybody else is standing around blind and screaming, she'd still know exactly where your throat was. I looked back at her. For the first time since she'd walked in, I understood why nobody in the room was trying to prove anything. Nova. That ain't the word I'd use. She turned slightly as the bartender pointed her towards one of the back rooms. Didn't look at anybody. The blade at her side gave off a low ember glow as she moved. The Ripper folded his arms. You hear about that kid? Martinez, I think was his name. Took over Main's crew and Max Stack flatlined him? Yeah. Fast riser. Sandy prodigy, right? Kid had more chrome than half the mercs in this bar combined. He jerked his chin towards Wasabi. She'd make his Sandevistan look like a child's toy. I stared for a second longer. Then she disappeared into the back. Sound came back. Wrong, at first. Like nobody wanted to be the first one to act. The music reclaimed the walls. The glasses slowly started clinking. And the whole place pretended like it hadn't just flinched. I turned back to the Ripper Doc. You ever think Night City'd be a calmer place? People stopped building monsters. He went back to his tools. Sure, and the ocean be drier without their water. Fair. He started saying something about signal hardening and firmware refresh when the barkeep's contact fell across my hollow. Ding, ding, ding. Yo, Rook! What's up? You're wanted in the back. The fixer's asking for you. Thanks for the heads up. I hung up the call. Bidoon. The Ripper looked at me. What that about? Seems I might have a gig. He looked at the back room, then back at me. No. I blinked. No? No. You Delta, right now, out the front. Find another bar. Find another city if you can manage it. I stood up slow and stretched. There's no place like Night City. I looked toward the bar, then I looked back at him. If she pick you, you are already in it before you walk through the door. Yeah, feels like that. I step away from the booth and cut back toward the bar instead of the back room. My mouth had gone dry, and if I was about to walk into the kind of room that made hardened mercs forget how breathing worked, I wanted something hot enough to burn a line down my spine first. The bartender sees me coming. What'll it be? Silverhand, on the rocks. She poured without comment. Amber over ice, clean and mean. I picked up the glass, glanced once toward the back, then threw it down in one shot. Oh, the burn hit fast, settled warm, and stayed there. Good. I set the glass down. Another? Nah. I wiped my mouth with the back of my hand and let out a prolonged exhale between my lips. Then I head for the back. The hallway is quieter than the bar, and somehow that made it worse. The door at the end was half open, warm light cutting across the floor in a thin gold line. I pushed through. Lady Wasabi stood near the room's only table, hands resting lightly behind her back, posture so still it looked deliberate enough to be a threat. A fixer by the name of Jonas sits off to one side, trying very hard to look like he belongs here. He does not. Her eyes find me.
Damien Foster.
Nobody called me Damien in rooms like this. I take another step in and close the door. Most people call me Rook.
Then I will use the name most relevant to the conversation.
She spoke with none of the popular slang from around here, and wasted no motion either. Must be from somewhere Night City hadn't managed to stain yet.
Sit.
I sit down in its sticky, cheap, faux leather seat, while she remains standing. The fixer clears his throat like he wanted to remind us both he existed. Lady Wasabi was just explaining she has an opportunity. Specialized retrieval. High value. High risk. Wasabi did not look at the fixer when she spoke. Instead, she spoke to me. Definitely not from Night City.
Cyberpsychosis is increasing. an issue that your corporations don't feel is worth fixing or are intentionally using for profit.
I lean back a little. That sounds like a setup line.
It is a statement of fact.
Fair enough. She stepped toward the table and set a shard down between us.
MedTech possesses a curative process, not a mass-produced drug. A gene-keyed neuroadaptive treatment framework. It must be built for each patient individually.
I looked at the shard, but didn't touch it yet. So, not really a cure. A treatment?
It is a cure. It is merely inconvenient to scale.
The fixer shifted forwards. Meaning expansive.
No, meaning control.
That shut him up. I looked at her, but she continued to glare at the fixer. And you want it clept?
I want it removed from exclusive possession.
Same thing. Prettier words. She finally looked back at me and continued.
If you prefer.
I pick up the shard and slot it. It clicks into place, and I'm able to watch a model of a medtech facility bloom in pale light on my holo. Vault markers, security routes, layered access corridors. Not small-time biz. You want all of it?
I want what is necessary to reproduce the process outside MedTech authority. Treatment matrices, synthesis protocols, patient keying architecture, any active calibration cores relevant to deployment.
That's a lot to just walk out with.
That is why I selected you, the one responsible for the Biotechnica infiltration.
The fixer's eyes widened in confusion at the mention of a job he did not know about. I whipped my head towards him with a glare that meant biz. He immediately looked away. She was clever. Had all the deets. She let slip she knew, but not enough to reveal the books. There was something about the way she said it that landed heavy. A nod to my skills while slinging some lead over my shoulder. She may sound like she's from Red Veil, but she's got weight in Night City too. I looked up at her. Why me, specifically?
You enter quietly, and you exit with the objective. You are not governed by theatrical violence.
I almost smiled. That your way of saying I'm not dumb enough to shoot first?
It's my way of saying you understand the difference between force and waste.
Yeah, okay. I glanced at the blueprint again. If this thing's real, why not take it yourself?
I am engaged elsewhere.
Arasaka? Dead silent. No reply. The fixer is aggressively looking away now, refusing to even face our direction. His face twisted like he had just stepped in a massive pile of corpo shit, and he was thinking of burning his boots to start over. I leaned forward, pulled the shard out, slipping it into my pocket. So, while you're off clepping something from Arasaka, you want me to walk into MedTech and steal a miracle.
I want you to retrieve a framework that should not belong exclusively to those who can purchase personhood.
That didn't sound like Night City. Didn't sound like any fixer I'd ever met either. You from Red Veil, for real?
Yes?
They all talk like you over there?
No?
That got the smallest ghost of a smile out of me. Good. One of you's enough. The fixer laughed nervously. Wasabi did not.
There is a time limit. I will not remain in Night City indefinitely. If the framework is not secured before my departure, this opportunity closes.
Timelines are doable. But, how much scratch you putting up for this?
€75,000 up front so you can prepare. €5 million upon completion of the assignment.
I kept my face flat, which was hard, because it was a very serious number. The fixer spat out his drink. And if this goes loud?
Do not let it go loud.
Comforting.
I did not intend to comfort.
No, she really didn't. I looked back at her, those terrifying yet warm eyes looking back at me. Big job, big risk, bigger payout. And under all of it, something ugly and familiar. Another corp hoarding the right to live and calling it market value. The kind of thing Night City ran on. You got an entry vector?
Several. All the known options are on the shard and I leave the details to you. You will require additional preparation as MedTech's intrusion countermeasures are substantial.
I stood up. When do I start?
You already have.
She flicked a finger in my direction, and I saw my wallet jump 75,000 eddies. I looked at her for a second, then nodded up once. Preem. She tilted her head slightly.
I do not know the meaning of that word in this context.
I straightened my jacket. Means I'm in.
I am aware that is why you were summoned.
I turned for the door.
Mr. Rook,
I paused.
when this is done, there will be many who are alive that MedTech had chosen to convict and condemn.
That was the first real thing she'd said that didn't sound like a contract. When I glanced back over my shoulder, I could see that she had leaned against the table slightly, and I could finally get a glimpse of the human left inside the chrome. Yeah, let's try to make that the case. I step out of the room and return to the noise of the afterlife, the shard hot in my pocket. My steps are swallowed by the noise of the room as I weave through the chromed out crowd that has gathered. Stepping through the doors, I'm greeted with a cold breeze blowing in from the Badlands. As I glance up at the starless sky, I grin and think to myself, This is how I become a legend in Night City. This has been part 1 of my Cyberpunk series. It has been quite the while in the making. I got sick there, couldn't record for a while, then got super busy. But thank you for your patience. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please give it a like, throw a comment down there, subscribe to my channel. Really helps out, keeps my motivation up, keeps the fires lit here at the Forge. Thanks again. Take care, everybody. Velasco out.